Welcome back, boxing fans, to another great show with the Trump of the YTBC, Sean on Boxing. So, we're going to be talking about a lot of things coming up in the imminent future, as well as some opinion pieces, things that I've seen on social media that are great discussion talks. And so, feel free to jump in, give your opinions, give me your breakdown on these great topics. So, let's just have a quick commercial break. When we come back, we will get this show rolling. Welcome back, boxing fans. So we had some great boxing this past week. Obviously, there was the big card in Cuba. For some reason, BoxRec wasn't really showing the results, but I do see that the results have actually fallen through. We do know who ended up winning those fights. So let me just quickly jump on that, just in case some people are unfamiliar with it. It was exciting because this is the first time professional boxing, has went back to Cuba. So that's fantastic. Hopefully, this means that we're going to be getting a lot more doors open for Cuban amateur fighters into the pros, which obviously would be great for Cuba's economy to bring some money into that country. But it'd also be great for these amateur fighters to get the opportunity to actually fight for big money as opposed to being career amateurs. Wayne Evans is in the house. What's up, Wayne? So obviously this weekend we had some great fights. Jon Boots Ennis really stepped up and showed out in a sublime performance against Stanionis. Obviously people knew Stanionis was a solid opponent. Nobody could have imagined the way Boots dominated and then eventually stopped him in that fight. It was a bit of a soft stoppage. I do think Stanionis and his team did take the pussy way out, but that's something they obviously have to deal with in the future. Yeah, I still don't know if those scores are on BoxRec yet, but obviously all the Cubans ended up winning those fights, and pretty quick as well, like really fast decisions, third round, second round knockouts. So hopefully we'll be able to see those. If you are friends with my man on Telegram, Batman Boxing, he did put all the fights up there, so they're definitely there for you to watch. Where are they? There we go. Arlen Lopez's victory against Martin Bulacchio. Lazaro Alvarez's win over Miguel Santos. And Julio Cesar La Cruz victory over Dilian Prasovic. So, if you watch amateur boxing, I'm sure you're very familiar with those names. If not, keep an eye on them. Obviously, they are older professionals, so you can't expect them to be fast-tracked moving forward, because what else can they do? Most of those guys are 28 years old, so now's the time. But let's get to this. Obviously, we got a lot of exciting things to talk about in this week's podcast. One question that popped up on social media was this one about Inoue the Monster. And obviously, this comes down to recency bias, right? Inoue is obviously a pound-for-pound top fighter. He's killing it now. People are super hyped about him. He's really starting to become a global superstar. The question is he Asia's greatest boxer? Let me know in the comment section below, what do you guys think? Do you think Inoue the Monster is Asia's greatest boxer? Because at this point, you still have Pacquiao in the conversation. And I don't know if Inoue has done enough to catapult above Manny Pacquiao at this point of his career. In my opinion, I mean, obviously he's 31 years old, so, he's still got time on his side. But you got to do a lot more. The level of opponents that Pacquiao fought in his career, not to mention the levels, the different divisions he jumped through as well. It's hard to look past him as being the greatest Asian boxer in history. But obviously, some people may feel different. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. For me, I don't think at this point Inoue is the greatest Asian boxer forever or ever. But he's definitely in the conversation for one of the top 5 boxers in Asian boxing history. Whereas when we talked about Canelo Alvarez, obviously people were talking about Canelo being the number one Mexican fighter in the history of boxing. Even that's a contentious issue. Some people may feel that Canelo, based on all the things he's accomplished, has moved to that position. Some people feel that his resume is just not at that level compared to a lot of the historical greats. I find, obviously, this is a similar conversation. I don't know if you could put Inoue above Manny Pacquiao at this point. I think that's really a stretch. But let me know what you think. Also, this past weekend, happy birthday to the monster. He did just turn 31 years old. Obviously, getting a little older. So now's the time for him to do the things that boxing fans really would expect a guy who is Asia's greatest fighter to do, which is, fight the best fighters around. Junto Nakatani, Bam Rodriguez, Ball, all these guys that obviously would potentially be superstar fights. Wayne says, there isn't a plethora of great fighters today like Pac. Well, yeah. Red Snapper, welcome. Drunk Irishman, what's up? So our question was, do you think that Inoue is the greatest Asian boxer in history? Obviously, at this point, I feel that's premature. But let me know what you guys think. Hollow Ninja, thank you very much. He says, my top 3 Asian fighters of all time, Pacquiao, Inoue, and Donaire. Again, that's a little bit of recency biased as well, because you had some great Korean fighters back in the day, like pound for pound guys back in the late 80s, 90s. Maybe Drunk Irishman will remember better. Moon, Kim, and a few other guys. Korean names all sound the same to me. And then, of course, you had a few great Thai fighters like the Galaxy brothers, specifically the one brother who was a fucking monster, right? Kaosai Galaxy. If you haven't seen him, go check him out. So there's quite a few other Asian fighters to put into that conversation as well as the Indonesian fighter John, who, ended up having an undefeated record, I think, in his career before he retired, being close to Floyd Mayweather's record, if I remember correctly, and also has a victory over Juan Manuel Marquez on his resume as well. Is he the greatest fighter from Asia? Yeah, that was the question that was popped up earlier. Hell no, Pacquiao's still number 1. Yeah. Kaosai Galaxy, the mini Mike Tyson, exactly. When I was watching Ring Magazine, all I wanted to do is get to see him and his brother fight. Of course, back in those days you couldn't, but the first time YouTube popped up, I was looking for those fights just to see if the hype was real. But yeah, happy birthday to Inoue. Obviously, Inoue is going to be a major part of today's conversation because of the great 3-day boxing extravaganza we're going to be getting in May, which is, it might not be the best card in history, but it's probably the best weekend in boxing history. Whether you like all the fights or you don't, it's great to have just this many great fights day after day after day, 3 days in a row, a long weekend of boxing. Carl Frampton versus Inoue. I asked Frampton this on YouTube channel. He said Inoue knocks him out. What's with the wig, Sean? I am the Donald Trump of the YTBC, so I thought I would look like the part, even though my wig looks a little more like the grandma that lives next door to you. But, it's an attempt. I got a little bit of hair. I don't know if Trump wears his bangs down or not, but, let's see. So let's move forward in this thing. So here's another one that obviously falls into this greatest fighter in Asian history. Obviously, Pacquiao was an 8-division world champion, and I think he was the lineal champion in 5 or 6 of those divisions, which is really the big selling point, right? It's not being a champion, having a baby belt in a particular division. It's the fact that he was the lineal champion, meaning he beat the man that beat the man. So, that's showing you that you're literally taking on the best fighter in the division. You're not just cherry picking a belt so you can say, oh, look, I won another division. He literally did it the right way. For Inoue, obviously, the question is, how many divisions do you think the monster will win in his career? At this point, he's went through 5 divisions. Obviously, he's a champion in 4. most people do expect that he's going to at least take a bit of uh, you know, a visit to the 126-pound division, right? Depending on what happens moving forward. So we can expect him to potentially be a 5-weight world champion. That's easily expected. But the question is, do you think, or can you envision him actually moving to 130 and above? I don't really see him moving to 130. When you start talking about 130-pound fighters, you're talking about really tall, long fighters, guys that are a lot bigger than him naturally. So I would think probably 5 divisions is probably the best we can expect. By the time he's 32, he'll be at 126 pounds. I think, okay, maybe we could see him move up to 130 for a one-off, right? If it's an opponent that obviously is not gigantic, a guy that a little bit more naturally sized, but we will see. Obviously, 5 divisions is historic. There's not many fighters in boxing today that have become champions in 5 weight divisions. It's less than 10. So if Inoue joins that group, that is historic, and obviously something that's is going to look great on his resume. Drunk Irishman says 4 of 5 lineals he won were against Hall of Fame fighters Barrera, Marquez, Hatton, and Bradley. Barrera. Yeah. I mean, that's talking about doing it the right way, right? He wasn't fighting tin cans and cherry picks and trying to win vacant titles like Clarissa Shields, who, of course, Showbiz has number 2 on his pound-for-pound list. See, that's the biggest fucking joke ever. Like, Clarissa Shields is not the best pound-for-pound fighter in women's boxing, so I don't know how she can be number 2 on a man's list, but okay. Showbiz will fucking do anything to try to fucking get people to pay attention to his channel. Anything. But let's move through. So, obviously, this is the card we're talking about. Friday, you have the Garcia Rolly Romero card, obviously with Tio against what's his face? Why does his name escape me? Yeah, his name's totally fucking out of my head. And then, of course, Devin Haney versus Ramirez. I mean, that in itself is a fantastic card. 3 great fights. I've seen many people be critical of it, but it's like, give me a break, people. Like, some people just don't fucking appreciate anything. Like, they're giving you this fight card in New York, in, Times Square, which is excellent for boxing because it's going to get a ton of attention. The media is going to really be talking about it a lot just because of the unique aspect to it, right? And then obviously it's New York, the Big Apple, so even globally, you're going to get a lot of attention based on just sort of the dynamics of that fight. Then you get 3 of the best up-and-coming young fighters in boxing, Tio, Haney, and Ryan Garcia. And obviously, this is all building towards the rematch between Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney, a fight that we knew was going to happen, a fight that people have been expecting and anticipating. Depending on what happens between these 2 fighters against this opposition, that's going to determine what happens moving forward. Maybe we'll end up getting a completely different fight, right? I do expect Ryan to beat Rolly, but Rolly's dangerous and Ryan's chin is in the air. I do expect Haney to beat Ramirez, but then again, Ramirez is no walk in the park, right? He's a dangerous fighter as well. And then of course you have Tio versus what's his name? Tio versus, oh my God, fucking Mexican name. How can I not even remember? But needless to say, that's a tough fight. And I'm kind of leaning towards the unknown Mexican to beat Tio, to become the WBO champion. Then, of course, you have Canelo Alvarez trying to become a 2-time Arnold Barboza. Thank you, Mr. T. Trying to become a 2-time 168-pound undisputed. I mean, I know people sort of mock guys for trying to re-win their titles to become undisputed the second time, but you can't blame the fighters. This is all about sanctioning body and their bullshit, right? This is because of the IBF that we even need to get a William Skull fight. So, if you want to blame people, let's blame the IBF. Let's blame the WBC. Let's put the blame on the correct people. For Canelo, we know why he's doing this, so he can reclaim undisputed, so that Bud Crawford potentially can become a 3-weight undisputed champion. Will he do it? Is that something he could actually do? Is he going to pull it off? That's the question. That's what everybody wonders, right? Obviously, many people feel Canelo's just going to be too much for him and destroy him, stop him with body shots. But then other people feel that Crawford is just a sublime fighter, technically better and more skilled than Canelo, and potentially can win that fight. And that's where the intrigue comes from. Obviously, we know that Crawford is really taking a risk, but that's why he can potentially do something historic. Canelo needs to fight Skull to re-win that title. So that's the reason. So let's accept it for what it is. Then, of course, we have Inoue versus Cardenas. This is Inoue's move to fight in the U.S. once again. Obviously, many American boxing fans have really been pushing for him to move to the States and come here and, wrap his gloves correctly and get off the PEDs and fight a real fucking fighter so we can see if he's really good. The typical kind of hate and negativity that we see on YouTube consistently. But this weekend is fantastic. I'm excited. I can't wait till it gets here. Let me know what you guys are thinking. Which of these cards are you most excited for? Jay Perez, what's up? Young Gun says Junto will pass up Donaire on that list. Yeah, probably. But then so will potentially Ken Shiro, Barboza, Ioka, or Donaire. Who has a better career? Well, obviously Donaire had more of an American career, but Ioka, consistently has had, really in his career, he hasn't really lost any fights until the Puma fight. Before that, even the losses on his career were very, very controversial. He could have easily been undefeated before he fought Puma for unification. Yeah, okay. You would like that, but that says a lot about you, I suppose. Donaire, for sure. Yeah, Donaire had more of the names, but at the same time, Donaire also had the brutal stoppages and the losses, something that Ioka hasn't had yet in his career. Donaire fought and beat way better opponents. Yeah. But let's move forward. Obviously, this card is great. Let's look at it a little closer. So here we are. Here's the three cards. Obviously, from New York, Times Square, Friday, May 2nd, we're going to be getting Tio versus Barboza, Devin versus Ramirez, and Ryan Garcia versus Romero. I mean, Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney both have been suspended for 1 year because of drug use, right? I mean, just put that into your fucking pipe and smoke it and think how ridiculous that is. Because really, only one guy failed a test, but literally both of them were suspended for a year. So now this is their bounce back fight. We'll see how they both look. I think they're all interesting fights. I know people are critical, but I don't see the need to be critical. I mean, Ryan Garcia is fighting Romero after 1 year out. That's a great fight. Obviously, there's going to be tons of back and forth, obviously through social media and just, how belligerent both of them are. It's going to be really interesting listening to those guys go back and forth with each other. Haney and Ramirez both are far more, I won't say mature, but, more understated. So there's not going to be a lot of talk between the two of them. It's just two real good fighters who obviously have done a lot in the sport of boxing, meeting at a time where it's kind of a crossroads, right? It is kind of a crossroads for Devin Haney because of that fight with Ryan Garcia. And obviously for Ramirez coming off of a Barboza loss, it's a crossroads for him too. And then Tio versus Barboza, a guy that he blatantly ducked for quite a while now. He's getting big money from Turki Al-Sheikh to take on his opponent. And then obviously if he wins this, we're going to see bigger and better things moving forward. And the great thing about this fight card, inevitably this means the three of these guys are going to be moving to 147, adding a lot of luster and money to the 147-pound division, which potentially is great news for Boots Ennis. But let me know what you guys think. We get to see the Crayon Eater get knocked out again, so that's neat. Exactly. And even if he knocks out fucking Ryan, I mean, people fucking kind of disdain and hate Ryan too. So regardless of who gets knocked out, some people are going to be super excited about it, And if Tio loses to Barboza, a lot of people are going to be super excited about that. And if Devin Haney loses to Ramirez, a lot of people are going to be super excited about that. So if all these fights turn into fucking upsets, I think people are going to be more excited than if the A sides end up coming through, right? Just because there's a lot of negativity towards all three of those guys right now at this point of their careers. So this is definitely not a bad situation. Just because of the hate, people are going to be paying attention. Then, of course, from Riyadh season, Canelo leaving the States, fighting in Riyadh, right? Something that isn't something David Benavidez wants to do because he's too big for Riyadh. But Canelo can do it, but not David Benavidez. As far as the card, it's a good card, solid. I mean, yeah, we're not going to get super excited about Alvarez versus William Skull, even though it is a unification fight. Badou Jack versus Ryan Radzitsky, that fell through. Apparently, Ryan Radzitsky hurt himself. So there's going to be the guy who was holding the title before, the Russian-German fighter, I can't remember his name. He's jumped in as a replacement opponent. So Badou Jack is going to fight him for that title. Jaime Munguia trying to get revenge against Bruno Sarachi, who in Mexico pulled one of the biggest upsets of 2024, right? Was it 24 or was it early 25? By knocking out Munguia, surprisingly. Martin Bakole coming off of that brutal knockout to Parker, jumping into face Efe Ajagba, obviously a fight that was already in the works. Now, of course, because him jumping in to rescue that other fight card, Turki Al-Sheikh is, helping the brother out, throwing him another big payday, giving a big platform to get a big victory against Efe Ajagba and putting himself right back into contention, which, you got paid twice just because you were a good guy helping them out. Brian Leon, I'm unfamiliar with him, but I suppose he's an up-and-coming young fighter. And then, of course, one of the most exciting fighters I want to see this weekend on this card is Marco Verdi. Marco Verdi, who was an Olympic medalist for Mexico, right? It's not often that we get to talk about a Mexican fighter who was an Olympian. Generally, Mexican fighters don't go that route through the amateur boxing program. But Marco Verdi did that, hyped, a lot of hype behind him. Obviously, he's working and training with Canelo Alvarez as a trainer as well. I think he's going to be a career 154-pound fighter for this fight, if I'm not mistaken. So it'll be interesting to see how he looks. He's got a great style, very professional. So the kind of guy that can easily transition from the amateurs to the pros and have a really fan-friendly style, right? Obviously, he's got boxing pedigree, but he's more of a boxer puncher than a typical Mexican pressure fighter. So it's exciting. I'm eager to see how that unfolds. You think Boots stays at 147 long enough for the 140 opponents to move up? He looked like a skeleton making 147. Yeah, that's true, Drunk Irishman, but I guess it depends on how this card works out. Obviously, they're on a similar fight schedule. So, if he can't get a fight with one of the other champions, he probably has a Giriasov fight, which isn't something people really are too excited about. But if he could potentially get, the fight that people were talking about was him versus Teo, right? And Teo was calling him out. And obviously a Teo fight would be a far more interesting fight than Norman, Barrios, or fucking Gisiev, right? And if Teo looks good against Barboza, that'll really help push that up quite a bit. And I think that's definitely a fight that would be great for Boots' career, knocking Teo out. The last time Lopez lost, and I made memes, the people that took them from my account and reposted it to theirs were getting death threats. I think that was all coming from fucking Punch Drunk Boxing. I think he tries to get the other belts, then dips if he can't within a year. Yeah. I think he's probably going to try to squeeze out the rest of 2025. And if things don't fall into place, then obviously move up to 154 for 2026. But we will see. Hopefully it all works out. But overall, that's not a bad card, the Saturday card from Saudi. Again, the only problem with this card is it's shit timing for me. Obviously, the Friday night fight is perfect because that's going to be Saturday morning for me. Saturday morning. Yeah, Saturday morning. And then obviously, I wish the Saudi Arabian card was in the States instead, because then that would be Sunday morning. And unfortunately, the shit thing is, uh, the Sunday fight with Anui is going to be Monday morning, whereas usually his fights are my time, so it's not bad. But Monday morning means I'm not going to be able to see these two fights, which is disappointing because I know Top Rank is obviously going to put a lot more on the undercard. So far, these are the only two fights that are scheduled, and these are both good fights. Obviously, not the best and biggest opponents, but still, nonetheless, it'll be nice to see Anui against a Mexican fighter in Vegas. The crowd's going to be really excited, hyped up. Ramon Cardenas is a hard puncher. Obviously, he's going to come because for him, this is a career-defining fight for him, right? And we know the unknown Mexicans, they love to fucking pull an upset. Look at all those dudes that went over to Europe, the UK, and ruined Matchroom Eddie Hearn cards consistently, right? And these guys were unknown until they went there, won titles against English fucking champions. And then, of course, Rafael Espinoza, always an exciting fighter. Even if it's against not the biggest name, I would prefer him to be unifying against one of the other champions. But, Edwin Vasquez is fine enough. I'm not going to moan and groan like a spoiled child because I'm not getting the fights that I would prefer. Everyone's steered clear of Prime Ioka. Well, it's even you look, he did fight great fighters like Donny Nietes. And then obviously that first fight, he won clearly, but somehow Donny Nietes got the decision, right? That was ridiculous. And then of course, Ioka, he ducked Junto Nakatani. So, that's a criticism for him. He does have that fantastic victory against Tanaka, which was a fucking career defining victory for him and really got him a ton of attention. Uh, but yeah, he's had a great career. Like at the end of the day, he married a pop star, got a lovely family, made great money. He's a celebrity in Japan. And obviously now he's consistently still fighting. I would love to see him potentially fight Roman Gonzalez. For me, at this point, that would be the fight I'd prefer those two guys to be in. Two older fighters, great careers. It's kind of like Jeff Fenech versus Azuma Nelson, right? They fought while they were past their best, but still, they were both past their best. For Ioka and Roman Gonzalez, both past their best, but I would love to see that matchup. Love it. Let's scroll through. Ioka is too small for Chocolatito. Too small? They've come through the same fucking weight divisions. So I don't know if he's too small. They are guys that came up from 108 to 112 to 115. So, no difference between their careers. So what do you guys think? Which of these three cards are you most excited to see this May long weekend? Chocolatito's last fight was at 118, and he looks bigger. Yeah, but he was also fighting a mediocre fighter, potentially trying to put himself in line for one of those bantamweight world titles, which I thought was going to happen, but I don't know what happened with regards to that. It's too bad. I wouldn't mind seeing him become a 5-weight world champion as well, right? That would be the final sort of, exclamation mark on his career. Nobody can take that shit away from him. Even John Boxing can't take it away from him. So that would have been fantastic. And still, he may do it, but this long extended layoff, it's never a good thing, especially for a fighter inactive, coming off of losses and not the best performance of his career. The Lopez Haney Garcia card. There you go, Mr. T. Yeah, I think that's going to be the card people are super excited for just because of the bad blood between so many of the people involved in the card, right? It's going to be a lot of banter, a lot of back and forth. The fight I'm mostly exciting is the Top Rank fight card, but at the same time, as I said, I'm not going to get to watch it live anyway. So, oh, wait, it's Monday. Oh, that's not bad. I can watch it. I just have to watch it on my iPad at work because I have morning, no class hours. I have office hours on Monday, so that's okay. I can kind of watch it on the sly, on the down low. Prime for upsets and meltdowns. Exactly, exactly. That fucking New York card is prime for upsets and meltdowns. Man, talk about a card full of fucking mentally weak motherfuckers. Ryan, T.O., fucking Devin Haney. Ooh, I just want to see how Haney performs. A beatdown like that, some fighters don't recover. Will he be gun shy? Exactly. Well, that's what I said. I didn't hate on him, or I'm not being overly critical. It's similar to what I was saying with Errol Spence after the car crash, right? When you go through something as traumatic as that, you may never be the same again. And that's understandable, right? And for obviously Devin Haney, he didn't go through a car crash like Errol Spence did, but he got knocked down 3 times, got hurt about 5 or 6 times with the same punch consistently. Like mentally, that has to, you know, leave a little bit of baggage with you. We'll see how he gets past it. What's that? Spurgy Zoomer card. What's a Spurgy Zoomer card? Spurgy Zoomer. Then here was another thing I saw on social media. Obviously, this is a talking point generally in boxing. Who's the greatest welterweight world champion of all time? Sugar Ray Robinson, Sugar Ray Leonard, Manny Pacquiao, Floyd Money Mayweather, Pernell Sweet Pea Whitaker, Terrence Crawford. I mean, that's a great list. Obviously, there's many other great historically phenomenal welterweights. Like if we just put in BoxRec, let's see what they have to say with the best welterweights of all time. Because I know there's a few guys obviously not on this list. Because these lists are always, we know how it works. A little subjective. Why is my phone so fucking slow? Come on. What's gotten into you? Go, go, go. Shake, rattle, and roll. Well, I'll let that upload. Obviously, we're talking about a fighter from the 40s and 50s. Then we're talking about two guys that obviously fought each other in Pacquiao and Floyd. Then, of course, Leonard, who preceded them. Pernell came after them. And then currently Crawford, who is the king right now. All-time great. My favorite was Sugar Ray Leonard. Obviously, he was the fighter that I started watching boxing really because. And then from that, I was a big Pernell Whitaker fan. I love that 1984 Olympic team. And then I was a rabid Manny Pacquiao fan. So, obviously those guys are high up. Sugar Ray Robinson, obviously before my time. And unfortunately for most people, they never really got to see the welterweight version of Sugar Ray, right? They ended up seeing the middleweight version of him, which many people say was not even close to being as good as the welterweight version, who obviously was more like young Ali before the whole war situation when he had to come up in the second half of his career and he was a completely different fighter. So I think it's kind of a similar situation. Haney has PTSD from those left hooks. Yeah. Spurg and or speed card. Respect to Haney, though fighting Ramirez, most would fight a step up. C opponent. I agree. Spurgy means autistic. Oh, okay. I would say Sugar Ray Robinson, just a shame we haven't got footage of his welterweight days. There you go. Exactly. Imagine the fallout if all three of them lose. I fucking would be almost as I would be pretty excited. That would be pretty exciting news if all three of them lost. But BoxRec, let's look at some of the guys they have listed as great welterweights, which of course aren't listed here. Jimmy McLaren, the Canadian, obviously Hammer and Hank Armstrong, right, who was a great lightweight, probably more prolific as a lightweight, I would think. Jose Napoles, the great Cuban fighter. Oscar De La Hoya. Oscar De La Hoya's run at welterweight definitely is well worth talking about. Young Colbert III, Jackie Fields, Ted Kid Lewis, Barney Ross. Barney Ross was great. Jack Britton. Trinidad, Kid Galvin. Yeah. So, obviously there's a lot of other guys that don't get mentioned. One guy that popped up to my mind was, of course, Donald Curry. I loved Donald Curry when I was younger. But the problem, of course, with Donald Curry is that, yeah, mentally he got sidetracked and basically threw his career and ruined his career. So that's disappointing. Imagine the fallout. Wasuma says Floyd. You think Floyd is the greatest? I don't think Prime Floyd beats Prime fucking Leonard. No fucking chance. I don't think Prime Floyd beats Prime Pacquiao because I don't think the Pacquiao we saw at that time was the same version. And I don't think Prime Floyd necessarily beats Bud Crawford. Crawford has a 2-inch reach advantage against him, is a switch hitter. So Floyd would have to do completely different things in the ring than he became comfortable doing. You could not fight him the same way, right? Shout out Jimmy McLaren, my avatar. Irish Canadian. But yeah, I would say Sugar Ray Robinson would beat him as well, but obviously it's such a big difference in decades. I do think boxing has definitely, continued to improve. The fighters and athletes have become, better trained, stronger, faster. So, it's hard to necessarily look at guys that old. Canadian? How come all these guys want to steal Canadian fighters like Lennox Lewis? Lennox Lewis is not fucking English. He's definitely Canadian. I saw him fight for Team Canada in the Olympics and beat Biggs to become fucking a gold medal winner. I know his mother lived in Kitchener, just outside of Toronto, not far from where I lived. So, definitely not fucking English. And then the greatest fighter in history, people like to say that he's American from Boston, but he was from Nova Scotia, not fucking from Boston. People always stealing our Canadian fighters, even though we only got a handful of them. The outrage. Apparently, this fight is confirmed, which is great news. It did look like this fight was going to fall through. I'm excited. I think whenever quality fights get made, as a boxing fan, the only way you can feel is excited. I know some people are saying, "Oh, De Los Santos has been inactive. Oh, Keyshawn was lowballing him. Oh, fuck." Some people are such pissy, moany motherfuckers. Like, can't we just be excited that a fight's being made? CH Kim, what's up? My question is, your name is Korean, so how come you don't have a Korean fighter on your list? Because I'm pretty sure Korea had a number of historically great Korean fighters. I'll put Kosei Galaxy at number 3. Have you heard of Kosei Galaxy? I have. We were talking about him earlier on. Him and his brother, both great Thai fighters, specifically the older one. De Los Santos, I'm not really a fan of either guy, but it's a good fight. Yeah, I mean, it's a quality fight, right? It'll tell us a lot about Keyshawn Davis, right? And the fact that he wants to fight top-level opponents and stay busy, good on him, right? That's what you want young guys to do, right? And hopefully this leads to bigger and better fights moving forward. My issue with De Los Santos is he didn't ever try to call out Tank. I don't care that he fought Shakur. Well, you don't care that he fought Shakur, but Shakur, a lot of people feel, is better than Tank. And it's not that I don't think he called out Tank. I think Tank just didn't call out him, because Tank is obviously the guy that is the A side and gives out the contracts. De Los Santos is just basically an opponent. It's like Tank is with the PBC, so why didn't you ever call him out? Was De Los Santos? He was PBC too, right? So maybe they had plans and they just fell through after obviously he lost to Shakur. Maybe the PBC did that specifically so they could get that belt away from Shakur and potentially do an in-house PBC unification fight. We know that's the way they like to work, right? So that makes sense that they would maneuver themselves in that way. Yes, Keyshawn is developing the right way, stepping up little by little and staying active. Yeah, so that's my point. Yeah, but I don't think you can blame him for that. I think that's more to do with the PBC and all those people that are pulling the strings. Doheny needs to retire. Well, after his last loss to Ball, I mean, I think it's about time he retired, right? Another couple good paydays. I mean, I'm sure he's made some good money. I'm just hoping that if Lomachenko is going to retire, he does it quick. Like, not that I want him to retire. I hope he comes back and fights Tank Davis before the end of the year. But if you're going to do that, at least fucking come out and tell us that so we can look forward to it and understand exactly what's going on. If not, I would prefer Muratalla to get that IBF title. And then, of course, then we could do a Keyshawn Davis, Raymond Muratalla unification fight, right? Which would be fantastic. It would be exactly what we just got with Boots Ennis and Stanionis. And obviously, probably what would happen for Keyshawn is if he becomes a unified champion, he's probably going to move up to 130, 135, or sorry, 140, and fill in for Tio, right? Try to become a two-weight world champion and leave the 130 division to Shakur. He's old and fast twitchy, so he has no cardio. He's old and fast twitchy, so he has no cardio. Who has no cardio? For sure, I reckon a young Doheny would have beaten Ball, though. Doheny was always a good fighter, but I don't know if he was ever elite, right? He lost to, what's his face, for unification. What's his name? Danny Romero. That was a good fight, great fight. Both guys performed really well. But for Danny Romero, that was definitely the best win of his career. He performed really well, only to then underperform in his next big fights afterwards. He was boxing beautifully in the first half, but he gassed out. Well, I think that's because of the pressure that Ball puts on you, right? And the constant body work and everything else. Like if he was against a guy that wasn't such a pressure fighter, he probably wouldn't have that problem. But that is kind of what Ball and Inoue do to you. They put so much front foot pressure on you that it does wear you down in the second half. Kind of the way Lomachenko used to wear out his opponents. Not because he was necessarily hitting them so much, but because he was always on them, always in range, making them think and being defensive and needing to move and being prepared for something coming towards them. So mentally it was draining and obviously physically as well. But, TJ, he's had a solid career. He was a world champion. He's had some big fights. He must have made quite a bit of money. I wonder what they say he's worth on net worth. Boxer TJ Dohony's net worth. What are you doing? Fuck off. Why does my phone do that? Why are you jumping ahead, man? Fuck off. Stop jump. You do something and then it jumps to this fucking Google shit. What are you doing? Stop. Stop. I'm on Safari. Stay on Safari. Oh, I'm going to kill a motherfucker. Boxer TJ Dohony's net worth. Dohony's net worth is not stated provided results, but his value has increased significantly in the last 4 years, reaching 1.1 million. He also earned 800,000 in a pay-per-view bonuses for his last fight, which specific net worth isn't given. It's clear Dohony's boxing career has been financially lucrative, with his earnings increasing significantly over time, with his last fight against Inoue, which saw a significant amount of pay-per-view subscribers, resulting in purse increases. And his upcoming fight with Nick Ball, a purse and potential bonuses could be even higher, potentially making it the highest income of his career. Right? At this point, it's probably better to fucking get out. Well, you still fucking got everything together upstairs. Probably earned a couple million in the Nui fight for sure. Three greatest Canadian boxers: Lennox Lewis, Arturo Gatti, George Chuvalo. I wish Adonis Stevenson's career continued. He had so much potential. Sean, do you agree? The problem with Adonis Stevenson is joining the PBC, right, stagnated his career like Deontay Wilder. Once he won that WBC title, he just continued to fight scrub-ass opponents, which didn't really add anything to his career. Then the first time he was mandated to fight a top opponent, he almost got killed in the fucking ring, and his career was over, which is disappointing. But he's got some big wins. The win against Dawson, even though unfortunately it came after Andre Ward dragged Dawson down, so Dawson coming back up obviously wasn't quite the same. But there's other Canadian fighters as well. I mean, definitely those aren't the three greatest, because we got, what's his face? How come I never remember his name? Bald-headed black guy from Nova Scotia. Great fighter. Come on, drunk Irishman. Who am I thinking about? Yes, the Boston Bone Crushers, number one. And then, of course, your profile picture is there as well. Sam Langford. Why do I always forget his name? It's not hard to fucking remember, but I always forget Sam Langford. But yeah, Sam Langford, easily number one. Lennox Lewis, definitely top three. Lennox Lewis had a great career in professional boxing, right? One of the best fighters. You can put him anywhere in the top 10 of all-time great heavyweights. And I think based on how big he was naturally, he would be a tough out for anybody historically. Razor Ruddock was a good fighter. Great left hand. Trained by Chuvalo early on in his career. You know, what about Sean O'Sullivan? DeWitt. Two great amateur fighters, but both didn't really live up to expectations as pros. P. Sean, what's up, Mr. Pads? Langford, McLaren, Lewis, top three. If you want to say McLaren is Canadian. Yeah. And there we go. So you have a welterweight, a heavyweight, and fucking Sam Langford, which obviously he fought in every weight division, depending on who wanted to fight. You know, back in those days, I don't think weight divisions were such an issue. People just wanted to stay busy. Fight anyone. But here's another topic of conversation. The Four Kings. Which of these men do you think was the best? Tommy Hearns, Sugar Ray Leonard, Roberto, Hands of Stone, Duran, Marvelous Marvin Hagler. It's kind of disrespectful that right now they don't even put Marvelous on there, his name, because that is his legal name, Marvelous Marvin Hagler. If you can put Sugar Ray Leonard, you got to put Marvelous fucking Marvin Hagler. And Tommy, the Hitman Hearns, or is it the Motor City Cobra? But yeah, obviously great fighters. Duran for me personally. Sean, what do you make of Oscar Collazo? I think he's really good at minimum weight. I think Collazo's great. Great fighter. Definitely right now he's the best Puerto Rican fighter in boxing. He should be getting a lot more attention. Super exciting fighter for the small weight divisions. Let's just hope he continues to stay busy taking on great opponents. Bradley said on his live he thinks Boots and Norman is 50-50. No. Of course he's going to say that because Norman is an ESPN fighter. But at this point, you can't really put Norman 50-50 with Boots. His best win was against Santillan. Does anyone think that Boots Ennis wouldn't have fucking knocked out Santillan? Probably faster than Howard. Really? I don't think anyone that ever fucking watched that fight feels that Boots Ennis wouldn't have knocked Santillan out. Come on. Santillan would have been out fast. Far faster than he was against Norman. Not that Norman's not a good fighter, but no, come on, man. We know why Bradley said that, because Bradley is just a company man. Company man. Mr. Pad says Duran. Hollow Ninja says Duran. Drunk Irishman says Roberto Duran, even though he did the worst in the head-to-head fight with overall career, Duran career was greater. Yeah, his overall career was great. Obviously, Hagler is just a one-weight world champion, so that diminishes him compared to the other three. Tommy Hearns, he was like a rocket, right? That welterweight, that 154-pound career, but once he moved up to middleweight, he obviously had the spectacular victory against Duran, but then, crippling loss to Hagler, and then, some losses that don't even make fucking sense. You would put Hearns ahead of Hagler, eh? I don't know about that. Nobody ever knocked fucking Hagler out. I would say Leonard, but I'm biased. As I said, Leonard was my favorite fighter. So, Leonard is the guy that beat all three of them. He beat Duran, he beat Hearns, he beat Hagler. And you could say that he lost to Hearns and he lost to Duran, which is fair enough. Some people even think he lost to Hagler, but I don't think he lost. I think Hagler just was too stubborn and ended up losing that. Hearns was the first 5-weight champion. Sure, yeah. And then Leonard do it by beating Donnie Lalonde. There's a great Canadian fighter, Donnie fucking Lalonde. He's got to be top 3. Donnie Lalonde. In fucking one of the worst. Can you imagine if that Sugar Ray Leonard, Donnie Lalonde shit happened today? How on the YTBC fans would be so fucking mental about it. Because literally Leonard fought Donnie Lalonde at a catchweight, not even 168 pounds, but ended up winning the 168-pound and the 175-pound titles in the process to become a 5-weight world champion, equaling Tommy Hearns. Oh my God. Fuck, man. And then people get so bent out of shape about what dudes do today. Nobody did fucking that shit. That's, people were critical of Pacquiao fighting Margarito at a catchweight to win the 154 weight, but he didn't win fucking the 160-pound title as well. UFC card was better than the Matchroom card. It was mid. I don't even know who was on the UFC card. So all I can say about that is it was obviously fucking mid. Fucking New Kids talk, mid. What's with the blonde hair? You Naruto or Donald Trump? I'm the Donald Trump of the YTBC, man. Come on. Don't disrespect me. I'll have fucking the Secret Service take you out. Take you out, motherfucker. But, so who's your pick? Mexican boxing for number 1 of the 4 kings. You are to be hated. Hated or loved. It depends on, who you are and how agenda-driven you are. If you're a real boxing fan, then you got to love me. If you're a narrative-driven fucking fanboy, then you probably got to hate me. Naruto hair, don't look like that. Who's Naruto? Is that like a anime character? Or what's that? I'm out of the loop. Out of the loop, apparently. Oh, shout out to Rory McIlroy for becoming a Masters champion. Sean, how can you have Hagler above Hearns? I didn't say he is. I asked a question. Hearns was destructively knocked out by Hagler. Destructively knocked out twice by a mid fighter in Iran Barkley, right? Looked like his definite best weights were 147 and 154. But once he moved up in weight, his legs were just shot, right? He couldn't carry that extra weight really consistently. So he always looked fragile, chinny, shaky, still a great fighter. But, Hagler was never beaten or dominated by anybody, right? Every loss or draw could have easily went his way, right? He's a guy that, if he would have had the PBC Al Heyman behind him probably would have fucking retired undefeated. That was never going to happen to to Hearns. But I do respect what you're saying. Hearns obviously went through multiple divisions and accomplished a lot. But there's something to be said for being in one division and dominating, right? Not everybody aspires to jump through multiple weight divisions, picking and choosing to win titles. After this live is over, I haven't watched BT's video yet on Murzailiev, big time in Conwell. I'm gonna give it a listen. Well, he just says the same thing you'd expect. That Murzailiev was calling out people for ducking him, and now that Conwell's called out him, he said, why would I fight you? You're a nobody at this point. Which isn't wrong. Obviously, waiting this long, trying to get big fights, finally winning a world title, what he's looking for is a fight that's actually going to pay him some significant amount of money. Because he didn't make a lot of money in the Tim Tszyu fight, right? So fighting Conwell, you're taking a dangerous opponent, and you're going to get paid nothing for that fight. Nothing. Because Murzailiev is not a big name. He's not a big draw. Where's that fight going to happen? In America? Who's going to fucking pay for a Murzailiev Conwell fight? Right? So, he's hoping to get a big name opponent, potentially an Ortiz, right? Something that can generate some mucho dinero. Conwell fighting this weekend makes that card somewhat worthwhile. Wasn't Hearns the first to beat Virgil Hill? Yeah, that was obviously a great win. I was super surprised. I like Virgil Hill, and I definitely thought at 175, Virgil Hill was going to beat Hearns. But yeah, great victory for Tommy. Conwell kind of reminds me of Mike McCollum. Conwell is definitely a fucking throwback fighter. He's definitely a throwback fighter. That's big shoes to fill. But yeah, he's not quite McCollum. He doesn't have those long arms that McCollum has. So he was able to get under those punches and land those crippling body shots. He's much more short arm fighter, which obviously causes him some problems, right? Trying to get into range because he's not the biggest 154-pound fighter. So trying to use his jab to get in range as a shorter, smaller, diminutive fighter. McCollum was pretty long and had an effective jab because of his reach. Kim says, greatest Mexican boxer of all time, Chavez, Finito, Canelo, Zarate, Barrera. Not to hate on, I also put my man Salvador Sanchez on that list. Not to hate on Ricardo Lopez. I like him. I think he's a great fighter. But it's hard to put Ricardo Lopez very high on a list when he didn't have any legitimate opponents in his career, right? Like when you look at his career, the people he fought, it's a very mediocre resume, right? There's no really big step-up fights, like Aaron Pryor didn't have great names until, of course, he fought Alexis Arguello, who finally moved up from lightweight and challenged him. But for Finito, he never had those opponents. Michael Carbajal obviously had the fights with Gonzalez, which became huge. Didn't he have like 3 fights or 4 fights with him, which that made his career, right? But for Finito, he didn't have any of that. So how good was he? Who was his great opponent, right? The guy that's really going to be the person that sort of you can hang your hat on. Unfortunately, he's got nobody like that on his resume, which is one reason why most people don't talk about him and they kind of ignore him. I wish Golden Boy would get Conwell a big fight. Marquez, also an ATG Mexican. Chavez spent most of his career fighting bums also. Sure, yeah, when you come up through Mexico, right, early on in your career, before you're really established and specifically fighting in America, you're just staying busy fighting cab drivers. One of Finito's best wins was Ohashi. Yeah. And Ohashi is a great promoter. And obviously he was a world champion and a solid fighter from Japan. Is that the best win you have? Is that the most significant win Finito has in his career? If that's it, you understand why people don't talk about him as much and why people don't fucking hold him in this great esteem. People overblow Lopez's resume just because he was 51-0-1. Yeah, Obviously, he's got a great resume. Never lost a fight. Even that one shouldn't have been there, right? It should have been a no contest. So he should have retired 51-0. But, you know, I thought Marquez was corny. Also, Marquez, you look at him against some subpar opponents like Jean from Indonesia who outboxed him, or some other fighters that weren't that great. He struggled with them, right? Obviously, he had a great style for Pacquiao, but I preferred his brother. Morales and Barrera might be their best skill wise. Well, both of those guys definitely improved as their careers move forward. I remember Barrera getting beat and definitely getting back in the gym and refining his skill set to be a far different fighter. And Morales as well, very good fighter, underrated boxer. And of course, Morales was Mexico's favorite son. Barrera was fucking too arrogant and egotistical, rich fucking prick. But, that made great storyline for sure. Obviously, this weekend, Shakram Gisioff, the mandatory for Stanionis, now the mandatory for Drawn Boots Ennis, had a bounce back fight. Looked great. And when I watched this fight, what I noticed about him is I don't think he stands a chance against Boots Ennis. I don't think he looks durable enough to take what Boots is going to bring to him, even though offensively he's dangerous and has obviously a very good skill set. But I think Boots is just going to be too physical for him, too big for him, and I think he's going to break him down and beat him. Even though I think Shakram will obviously perform better than fucking Stanionis. He's a much better boxer and a more versatile fighter that could obviously fight in several different ways, unlike Stanionis, who was very one-dimensional and had no fallback plan. But when I was watching this fight, what I thought was fucking Shakram Gisioff, he would be a nightmare for fucking Devin Haney. His left hand is really fucking good, fast and accurate. Goes to the body, head goes to the fucking head. Great. Like, I think he would beat Devin Haney. And that's just a style matchup, right? Like, obviously, I think he'd get beat by Boots, probably stopped probably around 8 or 9 rounds. But I definitely think he beats fucking Devin Haney, right? Doesn't mean he beats Ryan Garcia, but I definitely think he beats Haney. Unless Haney bounces back and shows me he can take away that left hand, which at this point, I'm not sure if he can. Obviously, we'll see moving forward. He's going to take 2 big left-hand punchers back-to-back. But I would like to see the fight between Devin Haney and Shakram Gisioff. I think that would be a really interesting matchup, and one where I would favor Shakram to win that fight, even though the majority of people would totally downplay him and not give him any credit at all. I feel sorry for Marquez somewhat. I was rooting for him in the Barrera fight, and then Jay Nady robbed Barrera out of that knockdown. And I thought Barrera won. So you felt sorry for Marquez? But then you thought Barrera won. Salvador Sanchez is my favorite, but Salvador Sanchez's career was cut too short. I'm sure if his career didn't cut short, he would have been the greatest. May peace be unto Salvador Sanchez always. Yes, he was and is my favorite Mexican fighter, even though I also did like Barrera a lot. I wasn't really a Morales fan. I was more of a Barrera fan because I obviously saw him on Friday night fights, Monday night fights, Tuesday night fights when he was coming up. And I thought he was a really entertaining fighter. And then he totally paid off when I fucking predicted that he was going to beat Prince Naseem. And he fucking did me proud by fucking embarrassing that cocky British motherfucker and putting him in his place. So that just solidified my love for Barrera. And then obviously he lost to Pacquiao, which, wasn't bad because I was a huge Pacquiao fan. Well, I feel kind of bad for Marquez in the lead up to the fight with Barrera because he never got a good opportunity. His own doing, though. Oh. Where else are we? This was an interesting one. Nothing new, but it was just an interesting picture to see, looking at Floyd Mayweather's top fighters on his resume compared to Oscar De La Hoya's resume. And I never realized, I mean, if you look at Floyd, great black American fighters, obviously he faced Mosley and Judah, and that's that. And then black fighters that obviously De La Hoya fought. Who is it? Corte. Who's the guy over Corte? I can't even see his face, so I'm not sure who it is. Obviously, Pernell Whitaker. How come they don't have? Oh, I guess those were only wins because there's no B Hop, who obviously should be there as well, but he lost to B Hop, so I guess that's why B Hop and Trinidad aren't on his list. I would have just been interested in those guys being on his list anyway, because obviously you're facing that level of opportunity, those opponents. That's your resume, right? That's why I rate De La Hoya's resume higher than Floyd Mayweather's, because he literally fought all the best fighters, where Floyd Mayweather didn't. Regardless of what the reasons may have been, he didn't fight all the best name opponents. When you have Arturo Gatti on your list, Arturo Gatti, he's never been elite, so I don't know where you'd put him on the list. But outside of that, even Maidana. Is Maidana elite? Maidana was a fighter that got beat by fucking Devin Alexander, Amir Khan, right? Two light punching boxers. But then Floyd struggled with him in their first fight, had to fight him twice. I don't know. When you look at De La Hoya's resume, I think overall, even though obviously he lost some fights, just the level of competition he fought, the fact that he really looked like he was willing to fight everyone. Obviously, he faced Floyd as well. So, Sean, do you remember Mitch Hard Rock Green? Yes, I do. Khan wasn't feather-fisted. Yeah, I guess that's true, but I always just see him more of a boxer and not really a boxer puncher, right? I would never have described Amir Khan as a boxer puncher. All Oscar's opponents had winning records. Very rare you see that on a resume. Only other fighter I can think of is Loma. He has decent punching power and great hand speed. Well, yes, great hand speed. That was definitely his forte, right? Being able to put those hands together. The problem is he would do that and then, of course, stay in the pocket too long and get countered. And he had no motherfucking chin. What's up, J.A.? Salute. Yes, glass jaw, though. Kind of those British guys, man. I don't know what's in fucking the fish and chips, but those British guys all have fucking glass jaws, eh? The Brits. Their chins are soft. Referring to, of course, AJ. Obviously, there's some hard men from the UK as well. But Khan and AJ, I think it must have been the woman they were fucking, right? She must have just drained the strength out of them, that woman. Khan is Pakistani. Well, he's from the UK. But yes, obviously UK has a strong Pakistani population. Yes, all of them almost. Not a true Englishman. Oh, come on. Of course he is. Where was he born? Was he born in Pakistan? I don't think so. That guy fucking has an English accent. Passport nationalism. That thing is a little too itchy to keep on too long. Except maybe a prime version of Joyce. Yeah, Joyce had a tough chin until it was cracked and dented. Passport nationalism. A hamster born in a stable isn't a horse. Listen to you. Josh Taylor is tough. He's Scottish, though. Yes, he's not English. That goes against our fucking whole conversation. This was another thing I saw that popped up recently, and I don't know if this was factual or not, but obviously Canelo talked about potentially retiring in, quite a few years, which is surprising. But then I saw this recently where Canelo is on retiring after his 4-fight Saudi Arabian deal. And I would think after getting paid $400 million, it's probably a good time to retire. Because let's say Canelo fights William Skull, Bud Crawford, and then the winner of Bivol Beterbiev, which probably is going to be Bivol. At that point, who else is left for him except probably David Benavidez, right? And if you fight those guys, Skull, Crawford, Bivol, Benavidez, you're liable to lose fucking 2 of those 4 fights, right? Which isn't the worst thing that can happen when you're facing bigger fighters and prime young fighters, and you're obviously getting older in your career and not as motivated. I mean, that's going to happen. I wouldn't hold it against him to end up being 2-2 in that matchup, right? If he ends up 3-1, that would be fucking unbelievable. If he was able to beat Bivol and become 4-0, Jesus Christ, man. He definitely fucking passes Chavez as the top Mexican fighter of all time. And he solidifies himself right up there with the Pacquiaos and the Mayweathers for this era's best fighters. Because those guys weren't fucking doing that, right? Not at this point of their careers where they're fighting dudes so much bigger than they were. But I wouldn't expect him to beat Bivol at this point, and I doubt he probably beats David Benavidez at 175. David's going to be able to balloon up to fucking probably 200 pounds on fight night, right? But what did he say? I won a lot of titles in different weight classes. I have been the pound-for-pound king, fighter of the year, everything. And it's true. And now you get an extra $400 million. Obviously, he loves golf. He's got a family. He loves horses. Obviously, he's a boxer at heart, right? A guy who loves the sport of boxing. But at a certain point, man, there's other things you can do. You don't need to risk your sanity by fighting anymore, especially when you get to around 35 years of age. Damon Wester, what's up? Salute Sean. He will fight winner of Eubank and Ben next year. Quote me. They really think he is looking up when he's looking down. Well, Mirage, at this point, he doesn't need to look up. Those guys need to look up. For him, if he fights Skull, Crawford, and then the winner of Ben and Eubank, that's not a bad 3-fight deal, right? And if you're getting paid $300 million for those fights, and then your 4th fight is a rematch with Bivol, what's the criticism? I know you'll be critical because you love David Benavidez, but Canelo is not obligated to fight Benavidez. Benavidez just walked away from a fucking opportunity to fight Bivol or Beterbiev for undisputed at light heavyweight, right? He's got other opportunities available to him, and he's not even eager to fucking take those. Canelo obviously has done all these things. 4-weight world champion, unified at 154, 160, and 168, right? Obviously didn't unify at 175, but everybody has their limits. Not critical of fighting Eubank and Ben. That's embarrassing. Why is it embarrassing? We understand why that would be big. It's a big UK fight. Americans like you, ignorant, fucking nationalistic, pseudo boxing fans who only fucking fanboy for American fighters that look like them, right? The reality of the situation is that fight will be huge in the UK, far bigger than a David Benavidez fight in the US. You don't like it, but that's fine. You don't have to like it. The reality is at this point, he's not doing it because you like it. When Floyd Mayweather fought fucking Berto, he didn't do it because people were going to like it. He literally fought a guy who was 3-3 in his last 6 fights instead of fighting Keith Thurman to unify titles. Obviously, the Keith Thurman fight would have been way more significant, but he didn't do it. And then he ended up breaking fucking Marciano's heavyweight record by beating a debutante MMA fighter, right? So no matter what fucking Canelo does, nothing is going to be fucking on that level. Nothing is going to be on that level. Even if he fought Jake Paul, it wouldn't be on that level because at least Jake Paul's had fucking a ton of professional fights so far, unlike McGregor. Floyd's resume is unreal. Well, Floyd was fighting bigger guys like Canelo at 36 and put weighted by 20 pounds. Oh my God. Okay. This isn't about Floyd. Bivol would never fight anyone younger and elite. What are you talking about? He'll duck the shit out of that fade. See, Damon, you just sound fucking ridiculous. The dude fucking beat Canelo, beat Zurdo, the same Zurdo that David Benavidez is chasing, right? So if David Benavidez goes up to cruiserweight and beats Zurdo, congratulations. You fucking accomplished what Bivol already fucking did, right? And then you say he won't fight anyone younger. Oh, basically you're saying he's ducking Benavidez. Give me a break. If you're fucking that mental, do you think a guy that just fucking beat Zurdo, Canelo, and Beterbiev, arguably twice, is fucking afraid of Benavidez and ducking him? A guy who's literally fucking done nothing. His best win is Caleb fucking Plant. Literally, that's his best win. Caleb Plant, a guy Canelo Alvarez knocked out as a champion. He already has. He beat Zurdo, who's now a unified champion at cruiserweight. Floyd also fought smaller guys like Marquez. You don't know who Zurdo Ramirez is? You were critical of Floyd when he fought Berto at 30 years old. No, I was pointing out the hypocrisy of a guy like fucking Mirage, who of course is being critical of Canelo Alvarez. But nobody fucking Canelo Alvarez is fighting is fucking like Berto or McGregor. Right? Floyd Mayweather's pound for pound number one when he fought those guys, coming off of a Manny Pacquiao win. If you're fighting William Skull, an undefeated fighter for unification, Bud Crawford, a future Hall of Famer, and then the winner of Eubank and Ben in probably the biggest fight in UK boxing history, it's better than fucking McGregor and it's better than fucking Berto. And then if you're to unify or try to fight Bivol in a rematch, how could you be critical of the guy for doing that? A fight he already lost, but wanting to take on the challenge and rematching him? Man, that's a big step up in a fight that you're probably going to get beat in. Probably worse. Marquez is the same size as Floyd. Marquez is not the same size as Floyd. Stop. Floyd Mayweather has a fucking 72-inch reach. Floyd Mayweather had a 5 to 6 inch reach advantage over Marquez. So, don't talk about height, because you don't win fights with your head. You win fights with your arms, with your fists. And when you have a 6 fucking to 7 inch reach advantage over your opponent, that's a huge advantage. And if you watch that fight, you could see Marquez could never get inside of Floyd's fucking punches. Floyd fucking literally put his hands up here, so Marquez couldn't fucking throw punches above his arms, so had to try to get in range for his body. Yeah, and Marquez is also a counterpuncher, so stylistically, it's just a terrible fucking matchup from day one. And Floyd also fucking pulled him up 2 weight divisions. So please, let's fucking keep it 100% honest. I put my hard feelings towards Canelo to the side. A lot of it has to do with Crawford fight. Zurdo Ramirez, Marcos went. Even came in overweight and had to pay. Yeah, Floyd. Canelo should try and beat Floyd's record. Most champs beaten before he retires. I think he only has 2 champs behind. Well, yeah, he beats fucking the Cuban. That's 1. Obviously, Bud Crawford, would that be considered a champ, even though he's not winning a title off of him, even though Crawford was a world champion? And then after that, if you fight Bivol, even though you're probably not going to win that fight. Best to you, Sean. Greatest Mexican-American boxer of all time, De La Hoya, Johnny Tapia, Gennaro Hernandez, Michael Carbajal, Diego Corrales, Mikey Garcia. Sean, do you agree? Well, Diego Corrales was a lot of hype. The significant wins he has are limited. Gennaro Hernandez obviously has 1 great win against Azuma Nelson. I would put Carbajal above Gennaro Hernandez and definitely above Johnny Tapia as well. Tapia, unfortunately, ruined a lot of his career because of cocaine use. But I think we must be missing some Mexican Americans as well. that must be deserve to be higher on this list as well, but I can't remember. Didn't Bivol walk away from Benavidez' deal for $8 million? No, Rick Park, he didn't. He already had a fucking fight scheduled against fucking Beterbiev. So that $8 million farce is what it is. It's a farce. WBC and David Benavidez all fucking knew that fucking he was scheduled to be in a fight. That's why they did what they did, because they knew fucking they were going to strip him so they could give David Benavidez a fucking useless title with no meaning at all, right? And that's what he got, a fucking paper title. I'm getting to the point where I don't even like Benavidez anymore. As crazy as it sounds, I wish Benavidez would go back down to 168 because I don't think he can beat Iglesias. Janibek versus Canelo, 2026. It's will. Well, that would be a good fight in 2026. Especially if Janibek comes up and beats one of those top dudes at 168 pounds. You also have Diego Pacheco, who would be a great fight for Canelo at 168. Obviously, with a good, significant victory under Pacheco's belt, that would be even better. Benavidez cutting back to 168, I don't see it. No, I don't want him to go down. I don't want him to drain himself. 175 is his weight. Iglesias and all those guys are eventually going to move up. Iglesias has fought at 168. He hasn't done anything for Benavidez' fight. Oh, Rick, that's kind of like Benavidez asking for a fight with Canelo. He also hasn't really done anything. Floyd is 22 against current or former champs. Canelo right now is 20-0. Skull and Bud ties him. Skull. You can laugh, Rick, but Skull has an email title just like fucking David Benavidez. So they're fucking almost twins, identical. Two guys that didn't fight someone, but sanctioning bodies gave them titles by stripping the champion, right? So basically, fucking William Skull and David Benavidez, fucking same people. Hollow Ninja, what's up? Bud Crawford by 12-round TKO versus Canelo. Too stylish. If Bud Crawford was to knock out Canelo Alvarez, fuck me. Bud Crawford would definitely be getting pushed into the conversation for top 3 best fighters of all time. Is Prime Corrales Floyd's best win? No. He was overrated. Who did he beat before Floyd fought him? Only fucking Mikey Garcia's brother, who hadn't accomplished that much himself, right? Before he was forced to fight Corrales and got fucking steamrolled by Corrales. Corrales then had one good victory later on after losing to Floyd, I think. Maybe 2. And that's all he ever did. Like, his resume is thin. He got a lot of hype because he was an exciting fighter, kind of like Arturo Gatti, right? You know, land a punch, take 6 punches in the process. Corrales was his most impressive performance. Well, Corrales and fucking Gatti, 2 limited fighters. Floyd was able to fucking dominate and destroy, right? And both perfectly styled guys that brought the fight to him and allowed him to do what he wanted, which was pick him apart. Even though De La Hoya beat Gatti first. De La Hoya beat Gennaro Hernandez first. You know, truthfully, I think if Canelo retires after his next 4 fights, that would be cool. I think he has nothing to prove, right? If he was to fight Janibek, Eubank, who's going to beat Ben, Bud Crawford, and then William Skull, it's not the worst thing he could have done. And he'd pass Floyd Mayweather with Janibek to have 23 champions beat. So, you know, at the end of the day, his legacy is solidified. A guy like David Benavidez, who was talking about moving up to cruiserweight to take on Zurdo. So if you were thinking about taking on Zurdo, how serious were you thinking about fighting Beterbiev and Bivol? Right? You were looking right past them to go move up to cruiserweight to fight a guy that Bivol already beat. That tells you everything you need to fucking know. He sparred Zurdo. He feels confident against Zurdo. He sparred Bivol. He don't feel as confident against him. Corrales, only known for the Castillo fight. No one remembers his other fights. Don't know how he made it into the Hall of Fame. Well, he got tons of praise, right? He beat Garcia, trainer. Didn't Corrales beat Freitas? That's what I'm trying to wonder. If he beat Freitas and the Cuban fighter. Off the top of my head, I can't remember. But if he beat Castillo, Mikey Garcia's brother, Freitas, and the Cuban, those are significant wins, right? Not a deep resume, but still significant wins. Asuma, he tied with Floyd on 22. If he beats Skull and Bud, then he should beat it by just beating Skull and Bud. Diego was a pound-for-pound fighter, number 5. How was he pound-for-pound number 5 when he fought Floyd, though? Who did he beat to become a pound-for-pound fighter, Damon Wester? You tell me. And I would like to see what pound-for-pound list you're looking at that had Diego Corrales pound-for-pound top 5. Joshua Clottey, Casamayor, and Castillo is hardly overrated, Sean. Casamayor was good. Castillo, he beat him once and he got fucking destroyed by him once. It's better than GG's resume. Yeah, okay. But unlike GGG, fucking Castillo fucking got dropped a million times and got knocked the fuck out unconscious. Golovkin's fights against Canelo Alvarez, all better than fucking Clottey, Castillo, and fucking Casamayor. The only fight that's legitimate to that is Floyd Mayweather, and he got destroyed in that fight. Golovkin never got destroyed in any of the 3 fights versus fucking Canelo Alvarez. But I understand. You want to dick ride Floyd like he's fucking some superhero. Shit, wasn't Broner top 5 pound for pound when Maidana beat him? Once again, think about how that works. So what year did Castillo fight Floyd Mayweather? Because we can literally look on Ring Magazine's pound for pound list and see. What was that? 19. Fuck. I'm oblivious to the years, right? All losses for GG. Code check box rec. No, actually, the first fight was a draw. But Ring Magazine's pound for pound list, 1994. Once again, like I say, I don't know what fucking year Floyd Mayweather fought him. So I'm totally irrelevant. So 94, Pernell Whitaker was 1, Oscar 2, Orlando Gonzalez. Hey, man, Kim, Orlando Gonzalez, Mexican-American, that should be on your fucking list. He deserves to be there. Ricardo Lopez, Roberto Gonzalez, Frankie Randall, Trinidad McCullen, Miguel Angel Gonzalez, and Kevin Kelly. Why was Kevin Kelly pound for pound, right? Like, it just shows you how some of the pound for pound lists were weak compared to today. Like, if you compared this list of pound for pound fighters to now, you say 94. This is 94. Nowhere 94 is fucking Corrales listed. Floyd Mayweather also not listed. Neither of them are fucking anywhere to be seen. Where's Floyd? It couldn't be 94. Are you laughing at me? I don't know. I can't remember what year anybody fought, but it had to be somewhere around there. 96? I don't know. Tell a brother what year to look up. I'm just trying to prove a fact. Well, you're right, but it's today's time. A draw is a loss for someone. Just ask Tank. See, you pushing the race narrative. No, it's not a loss. Tank still fucking is the world champion. Just like Golovkin was still the unified world champion and could have fought fucking Billy Joe Saunders to become undisputed. But he contracted to fight Canelo, so he did. Mayweather was in the Olympics in 96. Okay. So then I have to look at 98. Come on, guys. Time goes so fast. When you've been around for a long time, years blend into one another. I fucking can't remember anything as far as dates. I don't even know how many years I've been in Taiwan. 2002? No, so long. 2002. Let's look at 2001 because maybe Corrales is going to be there at that time, right? Ask Chat GPT, bro. I don't have Chat GPT. So here's pound for pound right here. So this is 2001. That's what I'm looking at. Mosley, Hopkins, Roy Jones, Barrera, Floyd Mayweather. So obviously this is before because Floyd probably wasn't there until after Corrales. Trinidad De La Hoya, Ricardo Lopez, Costa Zoo. I was going to say Tim Zoo, Eric Morales. Floyd Mayweather. Yeah, obviously he beat him earlier because Floyd is number one. And my man is nowhere to be seen. Freitas, Casamayor are number 2 and 3. How come Floyd didn't fight them? How come Floyd didn't fight Stevie Johnson? That would have been a good fight. $2,000. Ah, yes. 2000. Diego Corrales was number 5 pound for pound. Floyd number 7. Man, it really has you questioning fucking pound for pound lists if that's the fucking point. Who did Corrales beat to be a pound for pound fighter? Pound for pound just is really more significant now than it was then. Because now when you think about it, you have Usyk, Bud, Canelo, Inui, all fucking undisputed champions, right? Then under that, you have quite a few other fighters that are far more accomplished. Back then, one victory and a bunch of hype from the media, and you were pound for pound number 1. I don't know. Where's my friend Kim? Where's the first Korean fighter? Were they done by the 2000s? I think so. No Korean fighters anymore, so it must have been in the 80s. Whatever happened to Korean boxing that was so dominant? They had a lot of great fighters, far more than Japan. Korea had multiple top-level fighters. But in the 2000s, zero. Was boxing outlawed in Korea? $1990. Here we go, 1990. Yes, there you go. What's that? Myung Moo Yu, number 9. Castle Galaxy, number 10. Man, how young was I? Fucking Tyson, Holyfield, Meldrick Taylor, Michael Nunn, Pernell Whitaker, Julio Cesar Chavez. Man, I miss the good old days. Where are we? Well, look at the pound for pound list today. Many have Tank on it. Laugh out loud. Well, to be fair, Tank is a 2-weight world champion who's knocked out almost everybody he's been in the ring with. That's pretty fucking dominant performances, right? Back in that day, Tank totally would have been fucking top 5 pound for pound. And his victories against Petraza and Leo Santa Cruz are probably better wins than fucking Castillo had at that point. South Korea was the 3rd best boxing country in the world. And what happened to them? Wow, never heard of an elite Korean fighter. No, Korea had lots of good fighters back in the day, like you just saw, the 90s and the 80s. But obviously in the 2000s, somehow Korean boxing disappeared completely. They were ahead of England, Japan, and then they suddenly disappeared. Yeah, which is funny because when you think about Koreans, and I know you guys don't live in Asia, so you might not be aware of this, But Koreans are kind of considered the Americans of Asia. Super fucking nationalistic, fucking super proud, think they're the best, better than everyone else in Korea, in Asia, right? Which is why historically most Asian countries really disdained fucking Koreans, right? Now, obviously, because of K-pop and K-dramas and the great Korean movies that are coming out, Korea is kind of globally at the highest points it's ever been, and obviously softer than fucking Charmin now, unlike back in the good old days. Zero's a two-way champion and current unified champion. Where's the love for Zerto? Zerto, he definitely deserves to be above Tank Davis, even though Zerto did get dominated by Bivol. Tank Davis still hasn't lost. K-pop started and everyone got soft. True, true. Before, I mean, it was Japan, right? That everybody loved Japanese movies, Japanese pop music, not so much Japanese dramas, but Japanese movies. There was a lot of good movies back in the day, especially when you go back to Kurosawa's days. Korea, though, now they dominate and they're no longer hated. And now Japan's boxing and baseball are two of the best in the world. Bivol, a pound for pound Hall of Fame fighter, while Tank is fighting Roach. I know. I understand. South Korea boxers fell off in the 2000s as the economy grew, interest in boxing died out. Well, that's true, right? That's what happens. When you don't have poor people who struggle financially, you don't have great boxers. But how does that talk about Japan? Because obviously Japan, they've integrated boxing so much into their culture where it's not that kind of poor man sport anymore. But I get you. That's true. After all the corruption and bullshit with the governments in Korea, Korea bounced back and yeah, fucking who's the great boxers now, right? And this is even after the Olympics in Korea, right? Where Roy Jones was robbed in the fucking Olympics. Remember the Korean boxer sat in the ring when he lost and refused to fucking get out of the ring. Fuck. Back in the day. But salute to Japan because they kept it up till this day. Yeah, and they're fucking on a renaissance right now. Japanese boxing has never been so good. Drunk Irishman, he loses every single fight when he fights someone on his level. Tank lost to Roach, a C-level fighter moving up. Boxing is a small man sport in Japan. Yeah, but also it was a small man sport in Korea, right? Even though I think Koreans maybe physically are bigger naturally than Japanese. I know the Koreans I knew, they weren't small. Denny was taller than me by a little bit. Not that I'm tall, but and then my other friend, he was not taller than me, but fucking thicker. That guy was like a fucking fire plug. Japanese kickboxers and MMA fighters are much bigger. Bigger physically, you mean? Or bigger? Oh, I think the average height in Korea is 5'10". 5'10", I think that's taller than America right now. Koreans are getting bigger than Americans? Because isn't the average height in America 5'9" or 5'10"? Yeah, bigger than the boxers. Oh, okay. So the sumo wrestlers went into MMA. More money to be made. Yeah. For me, I think it's disappointing. I think it'd be great if Korea still had a lot of good boxers, since it's a hop, skip, and a jump from me. Um, I definitely need to focus more on maybe traveling to watch some big fights. Like Thailand, it'd probably be doable, but I'd have to see Colazo fight in Thailand against one of those Thai champions. And I would love to go to Japan and see Inui, but that's almost fucking impossible. Impossible. The way they sell tickets makes it super difficult. Unless you got inside sources. Bivol would never outsell Tank, and any promoter would Tank over Bivol if he wants his money back 3 times fold. It's sad that popularity trumps skill and resume. But that's everything, right? I mean, that's why when we talk about fighters like Rigo, you could be skilled, but if nobody wants to watch you fight, then what are you going to fucking do? It is what it is, right? You got to be entertaining for fans because boxing is not amateur boxing, it's professional, it's a blood sport, right? So, you know, praise to Tank Davis. He's got a style that sells and people are intrigued by him. So obviously he does well in the American market. It's just unfortunate that he's afraid to take a risk and fight the better opponents that are available to him, where you could end up making more money, build your legacy even bigger, and become a true superstar. Because right now he's still behind fucking Canelo. And even when Canelo retires, Tank's probably going to retire too. So it's not like he's going to take over boxing after Canelo leaves. The talent pool was higher. Weight boxing in Japan is quite small because most big athletic people end up in sports like volleyball, basketball, or football as goalkeepers and defenders. Well, that's true. Yeah. Japan is still a small height division, but obviously, if you're a tall guy, you definitely would be pushed towards volleyball and basketball. Specifically, volleyball. I mean, volleyball in Asia is huge. I dated a Japanese girl. She was super short, but fucking great volleyball player. You could hammer balls at her and she would dig up fucking everything. Average height in Korea is 5'8", in the States 5'9". I think any promoter would take Bivol over Tank. No, that's not true. I mean, Bivol, even though he's got wins against Canelo, Beterbiev, and Zerto, if you brought him to America and had him fight a quality opponent with name recognition, he still doesn't fucking sell, right? Because Americans are just too fucking ethnocentric. They don't care about people that are great. They fucking only care about how much they can relate to them, which is sad because I don't get it. I don't understand how people can be that fucking way. Because truthfully, for me, if somebody's great, I don't fucking care where they come from. I want to see them, and they don't have to speak English like me. It's irrelevant. Do you have boxing in Taiwan? They do have boxing in Taiwan. Obviously, we have a few amateur fighters that did pretty well, women's and men. But boxing is not Taiwanese people. I'm sure you know, like in Korea and Japan as well, first world, Singapore, Asian countries, education is so pushed, right? So even people that play sports, most people, it's not even most kids' fucking attention. You know, what do most boys play? Right now, some boys are playing soccer when they're young. People are swimming. Girls are doing gymnastics or ballet. And then once they get into elementary school, they start doing less because so much homework. Once they're in high school, fucking, they don't have time to do any sports, right? Unless you really show an inclination to do something. And then you'd go to like a sports school, right? One of the sports high schools where they sort of build it into, right? It's really different culture than North America, you know, not close to being compared, but I'm sure you understand that Taiwan is similar, right? Like people just aren't as into sports as they are in North America. Like they watch Taiwanese baseball. If Taiwan's team plays Korea, that used to be a fucking hate match. Fucking Taiwanese hated fucking the Korean baseball team. Obviously, they're super competitive against Japan, but they kind of look up to Japan. So it's different, but people will all watch the baseball games. And when World Cup comes around, they all watch World Cup. But the Olympics, not so much. NBA Finals, you know, other events, not much. Tank is doing that with Roach. Didn't Bivol do 300,000 buys globally on the supposed biggest card ever? Rick, I don't understand why we want to be critical. The fact that more people didn't watch that card is a negative towards those so-called boxing fans. Why wouldn't you have paid $25 to watch that card? I live in Taiwan. I paid. And fucking, I enjoyed that card a lot. And I literally have to stay up all night to watch that card because it starts at like 1 o'clock in the morning, my time, goes till 7 o'clock in the morning, 8 o'clock in the morning. So literally, I can't sleep. I have to stay up and watch it. And it was fucking great. So people that are so, this narrative driven, like Tank Davis is good, but he struggles to sell pay-per-views too. Pay-per-views aren't what they once were. But, people are always going to cap and fucking act like somehow Tank Davis is the pound for pound number one fucking pay-per-view star in boxing. It's like, okay, sure he is. Dwight Howard, I think, played ball in Taiwan. He did. Yeah, he did play in Taiwan. Like 2 or 3 years ago, putting a Wilt Chamberlain numbers. I don't know what kind of numbers he was putting because they showed him walking around Taiwan. They showed people interacting with him, but it's not as if the games were overly televised or got that much attention. Obviously, when he played, people were paying attention to him in the basketball league. But when I first came, more people paid attention to Taiwan basketball than they do now. Didn't know Taiwan was that good at baseball. Baseball, they're good. Taiwan won the, what do you call it? The Kids World Series back in the day. It's on our $500 bill. True, that's why whites love the UFC, and it's hard for them to get behind Joey Spencer, Caleb Plant. They do love white foreign dudes like Loma and Fury. You say that, Damon, but that's not fucking true. Like, how many fucking Americans do you see on YouTube that love Fury? Right? Like, that whole fucking, the fact people support white people because they're white, for the most point, is fucking bullshit. People supported Golovkin because he was super exciting, knocking out everybody. Loma was great. So the fact that you didn't like Loma is mostly because you're a fucking idiot and pushing racial narratives. If you couldn't enjoy fucking Lomachenko, something is wrong with you. And outside of those two white guys, who are all these fucking white guys that get so much attention in boxing? Kovalev was a white guy, didn't get tons of push and love by the white American fucking fan base, right? Like, whites are a small minority of boxing fans in America. The two biggest demographics are Mexican and black. There's no point even talking about whites because the percentage isn't even that significant where it's worth discussing. There's two big groups, and if there's any back and forth, it's mostly between those two groups for rightful reasons because they're the ones that really are the dominant people that support boxing in America. If whites supported boxing, it wouldn't be such a fucking low watch sport and pay-per-view numbers wouldn't be so terrible. Boxers would do way better and fucking pay-per-view buys would be way higher like they used to be. But unfortunately, after that Pacquiao Floyd Mayweather fight, boxing lost a lot. Lost a lot. Dwight liked those lady boys I heard in Taiwan. Well, there's no lady boys in Taiwan. Dwight just liked boys. Not lady boys. Dwight just likes boys. Stephen Marbury was huge in China. He was huge. Built his legacy in China, right? Sold shoes and paraphernalia. Did well. GG is, what is Hapa? Boots put on a masterclass performance. Yes, he did. So technically not white. Ah, okay, I see what you're saying. Well, yes, we know his mother was Korean, so I think Damon is saying the opposite. The white American fans don't support white American boxers. Well, but he's trying to imply they support Eastern European whites or UK whites because they're just craving to find some white guy that looks like them they can support. But I don't think that's true. Pacquiao wasn't white. Inouye's not white. Roman Gonzalez wasn't white. Lots of fighters that are supported aren't fucking white. Did Joe Calzaghe get his due from American boxing fans? No, he didn't. He still doesn't. Shit, the Ward post-press conference was like a funeral and America won. Ward say it himself. The Ward post-press conference. Are you talking Kovalev? Whites watch UFC. Does it matter? I don't put race in boxing. If you're good, you're good. Exactly. Like it's like any sport. People are loving watching Ichiro, or so, not Ichiro, fucking, oh my God, what's his name? The dominant Japanese baseball player right now. Why is his name escaping me? Because he's fucking dominant. The stolen bases, the home runs, the pitching. We've never seen somebody like him before. I was just looking at stats because they're talking about putting Barry Bonds into the Hall of Fame, which I think he should be. Barry Bonds had Hall of Fame numbers even before the whole PED shit. But his numbers were fucking staggering, man. Like you could not want to watch fucking Barry Bonds at plate. He was fucking a monster, right? When athletes are so dominant, it's exciting. People love Tiger Woods destroying fucking other golfers and just showing that he was levels above them, right? Nobody had ever seen such dominance in fucking golf before, right? You know, it's the same as Serena Williams. Any fucking dominant player, people are excited to watch. People just love great athletes that dominate their sport. Doesn't matter what they look like or where they're from. Richard, just curious. What do you think of the guy from Mexico named Salas at 147? He seems dangerous. I'm not sure who that is. I had an American friend who was a casual boxing fan, and he told me that after the disappointing Pacquiao-Mayweather fight, he didn't want to watch boxing anymore. He thought it was boring. Everybody felt that way, casual fans. Casual fans dropped boxing. I keep telling the story that I went camping, and Sunday morning, I had the computer out watching the fight before we had to leave. And everybody that went camping with me was around the fucking screen watching the fight because it was so big. Even casual fans that don't even care about boxing were interested. And at the end of the day, they all said Floyd was boring. He didn't want to fight. They walked away still fans of Pacquiao. And I know people that love Floyd say, well, Pacquiao should have done more. But the point was, these are people that don't know boxing and watch the fight, and that was their impression. Not me, their impression, right? And after that, boxing really fucking died. It's only built back now. Ryder, you love Mexican boxing. Nothing wrong with that. He knocked out Ken Cruz on Pro Box, but Ken Cruz is a bum. Osh something. I don't know. I don't watch baseball. Ken Griffey Jr. was the GOAT. The swing was pretty. That's true. He was great, but he didn't use PEDs, so his career faded away. Here in Chicago, I've never heard of a white person who watches boxing yet. They all watch UFC. Shohei Ohtani. Fuck. I can't believe I couldn't get Shohei fucking Ohtani out of my head. I looked it up. Shohei Ohtani is a fucking monster, man. Fucking the Dodgers going to dominate boxing this year, or baseball this year. And he's the Mexican guy who knocked out Roman Villa, Salas. Okay. I've probably seen his name, but it just didn't register. Not to the point where it's burnt into my skull. Wonder if he could give Boots a run for his money. We'll look at it on BoxRec right now. He's lost before, but never been stopped. Let's not forget Kazushi, the Gracie Hunter, Sakabura. I personally love watching the smaller divisions. Better action and entertainment. They hit, don't get hit style will not work with those smaller divisions. It doesn't work with any division, right? That doesn't fucking sell boxing. People love UFC, but not when they're on the floor fucking wrestling around, mounting each other. They love when people are standing up, kicking each other in the head, punching each other in the face. People love brutality. When boxing is brutal, that's when people are most interested, which is why a guy like Gatti, who was never a Hall of Famer, was one of the most beloved fighters in America during his time. We talked about the guy Conwell is getting ready to fight. You believe he's pretty dangerous? He's a good opponent. Obviously, Conwell should beat him, but that guy's not bad. He's solid, right? He's been in some good fights, and I think he's pretty much always shown that he's a tough dude. that's pretty versatile. He's pretty long too for a Mexican fighter, so he's not like a guy who's giving up a reach. He might have longer reach than Conwell, actually. Mexicans, Puerto Ricans use race all the time to support boxing. It's only when black and white support their own that's a problem. I wonder why. No, Richard, that's only what race-toting blacks like you fucking consistently say. Nobody cares if black people support black fighters. Nobody cares. It's when black fucking guys like you shit on everybody that's not black and then accuse everyone else of being a fucking fanboy racist because they don't support black fighters, even though you and other black Americans don't support non-black fighters. So it's kind of like this hypocrisy is the issue. If you want to support who you want to support, look at you right now. Floyd beat Gatti way too easy. Yeah, and De La Hoya beat him first. Also way too easy. How come we don't talk about De La Hoya beating Gatti? Because no one fucking cares that a great fighter beat a bum, unless it's Floyd, because everyone's trying to justify Floyd's career. You notice, right? When have you ever heard one person fucking go, oh yeah, De La Hoya fucking destroyed Gatti. Oh yeah, De La Hoya destroyed fucking the other guy fucking that mentioned earlier. Nobody talks about that because it's insignificant, but it's significant for Floyd. Because black American fighters are held to a lower fucking standard. They can beat a guy like Gatti and it's a fucking career-inspiring fucking victory that shows that they are dominant. But when De La Hoya does it, he fought a bum. Who fucking cares? And he did it fucking before Floyd. And nobody mentions that. You're just proving my point. Thank you very much, as usual. Pacquiao versus Mayweather did hurt the sport of boxing. I only came back to boxing when Gigi and Canelo first fight was happening. Did really help when the decision happened. That's true, didn't, yeah. Kovalev is having his retirement fight this Saturday. Oh, okay. Drunk Irishman, that's only 2 years. Yeah, I agree. My cousin watched that fight with me and my parents, and he didn't pay his share and left. He had his face cringing, and he said the fight sucked. One of the worst things about boxing still today is that referees let fighters get away with a lot of clinching. If we remove this, the sport will be much better. Well, there's a time and a place for clinching, right? Just when it becomes too much, it becomes ridiculous. Back in the 80s, the heavyweights, man, they were fucking slow dancing in there. It was fucking terrible. He also tells me he doesn't watch boxing anymore. Gatti at his best was a C-level fighter. I started watching Gatti when he lost to Ivan Robertson twice. Exactly. Gatti was loved because he was fun, exciting to watch, but he was never fucking elite. Floyd Mayweather beating Gatti on pay-per-view. You got to ask yourself, why was Floyd fighting Gatti at that point of his career anyway? There was no better opponents? Oh, we know why. Because he was using Gatti to do his first fucking pay-per-view. Just like Spence used Mikey Garcia, just like Tank used fucking Leo Santa Cruz. Pacquiao was exciting, but he fought fighters that didn't move the needle. You love the Matrix. His defense back was similar to black fighters. Damon, only a fucking idiot says that. Not all black fighters are fucking the same to begin with. So you saying his defense is similar to black fighters, what do you mean similar to black fighters? We just saw fucking Boots Ennis put on a fucking display this weekend, and he got hit a bunch of times by clean shots. Not all black fighters are defense first fucking slick fighters. All kinds of different kind of black fighters. Charles Conwell would never be considered a defense first counter-punching slick fighter. Lomachenko was never a back foot defense first boxer. He's a front foot fucking fighter that puts the pressure on you with his foot pressure and is in front of you. If you're missing him, it's because he's fucking moving to get in range to hit you and counter you. He's in range though. He's not moving backwards. He ain't fighting like Shakur Stevenson. He ain't trying to fucking not get hit. Sean, did Mickey Ward get in the Hall of Fame? I would think he'd get in the Hall of Fame just from that movie, right? I mean, if Rocky Balboa could get in the the Hall of Fame, then why not Mickey Ward after that movie? That movie was very good. Vlad is one of my favorite fighters. Is he black? Well, nobody believes that you think Vlad is your favorite fighter. So whatever. That's like I have black friends. Am I racist? I have black friends. Actually, I have black relatives, right? So, when people say I'm racist, I'm like, yeah, I guess fucking my family hates me. They don't invite me to fucking Christmas dinner because I'm a racist and I ruined Christmas dinner. But come on, man. Nobody's favorite fighter was fucking any of the Klitschko's. You go at black channels as much as you stereotype all black boxing fans. You proved my point. Richard, you notice only when you come here does this racial stuff start talking. Before you were here, nobody was talking about black and white. This wasn't a topic of conversation. Literally, go back and look at the chat section. Only when you pop your ugly head in here does this shit become racial, because that's what you're projecting. Yeah, they boost that Gaddy win up. I don't get it. I'm down in Atlantic City and love Gaddy. We were his home base here for fighters, for fights. But come on, nothing wrong with supporting your own. Nothing wrong with supporting your own. Literally, nobody has a problem with fucking people supporting their own, except guys like you, Richard Sampson. But don't shit on everyone else, and nobody else is good enough. Boxing is a worldwide sport, and many different people are on the same level. Exactly. That's all I ever said. Oh my God. Rocky Marciano is in my top 5 pound for pound best heavyweights. Is he black? You're a tool. Nobody believes that you have Rocky Marciano top 5 on your fucking heavyweight pound for pound list. Stop, Richard. You sound like a fucking idiot. Because literally nobody has Marciano in their top 5 pound for pound list. I mean, I must have Marciano number 1 on my pound for pound list, along with Klitschko, and Tyson Fury, because I fucking hate black American fighters. So I must have all fucking white fighters in my top 5. But believe it or not, I don't have any white fighters in my top 5. Gaddy lost to terrible fighters too. Laugh out loud. I don't care if he was shot or not. Richard and Damon are related. That's why I hate Gaddy going to the Hall of Fame, because it boosts Floyd's win. Well, also it boosts De La Hoya, because De La Hoya beat him too. UFC fans tend to root for fighters based on their merits, accomplishments. Boxing fans root for their own weight, whether it's Mexican or black. That's true, Bobby. I'm white, and Rocky Marciano don't belong in any top 5 list. Exactly. You don't know me to believe who is my favorite, and it isn't. That shows are as much as a tool you are. Nobody believes you because we know you're full of shit, Damon. Richard, sorry. John, you don't know me? Well, everything you say gives us a good indication of who you are. Sorry. Being an entertaining fighter doesn't mean you just rush forward with no defense. Loma is a great example of how you can be entertaining while being defensively sound. Exactly. Who's the best fighter out of Ward, Gaddy, Vinny Pazienza? I would rate Gaddy above Ward. Obviously, he beat him. And Vinny Paz. Vinny Paz was media created hype job that was, never that great. I was never a big supporter. I know I should be, because he does look like me. So I should be a big fan of Vinny Paz. Gaddy was like Ryan, popular but C-level. Yeah, I'm glad Floyd beat the brakes off of him, because guys like you say Floyd never fought anyone if bums like Gaddy ducked him. Gaddy didn't duck him because Gaddy was the pay-per-view star. Floyd fought Gaddy so he could do his first pay-per-view. But the irony is, fucking Gaddy already got beat by Oscar De La Hoya. So Floyd didn't do anything fucking exceptional by beating a guy who'd been beat by Oscar and lower level dudes as well. He just used Gaddy to try to do his first pay-per-view so he could get a fight with Oscar De La Hoya. I can talk history with you right now about some of the best white fighters, but you want me to be this black militant to please your racist chat. No, Richard, you make yourself out to be a black militant. I don't do it. I'm not the one that fucking comes here and starts throwing racial fucking comments towards you. Literally, the first thing you do is do that when you pop in now. You didn't do that before, but now you do it all the time. This is all about you. It has nothing to do with me. It's funny when a Latino boxer that is dark skinned, where's that, is good, he's considered a brother. But when they suck, they don't claim him. Ali did say Rocky would give him his toughest test. Richard. Rocky is undefeated, and even though he beat old guys, he beat Hall of Fame fighters. You can't tell me who is in my list because it's my list. Don't fucking throw your toys out of the pram, Richard. I just think you're fucking full of shit. But that's my opinion. Damon crashes out. Didn't Baldemir knock out Gaddy and that Alfonso Gomez knocked Gaddy out? I don't think Alfonso Gomez knocked him out. I think he beat him, but I don't think he knocked him out. Americans are being raised off of chicken nuggets and chocolate milk nowadays. Rocky Balboa was the best white heavyweight ever. Does that chat know about the video on Harriet Tubman? What about her? She's fucking too ugly to put on fucking American currency. I don't care what she did for slavery. That doesn't mean fucking she should be put on money. You should put somebody more relevant, not somebody fucking historical. I said put fucking Martin Luther King on the money. Way more relevant. Everybody knows who he is. She's fucking so fucking old. The only reason you know her is because they taught her to you in school. Otherwise, you wouldn't know who the fuck Harriet Tubman was. And what did I say? It's my opinion. I didn't say anything racial because I said somebody that's ugly is ugly. Yeah, she's ugly. What? Is she related to you? Are you offended? I'm sure you've never called anyone ugly before. Never. Come on. Do you see the latest video of Punch Drunk's live? It's called Bud Crawford ran away from 154 landmines. Then he said, I'm not hating on Crawford. Fucking Punch Drunk is a fucking clown. Fucking go fucking keep kissing fucking Demetrius Andrade's and Tio's fucking ass. Like he fucking thinks that fucking Bud Crawford ducked Tio. Come on, man. That dude is a clown. That's what he is. I don't think Ward ever got knocked down from a head punch, did he? Well, he got dropped by the hard punching dude, but I don't know if it was a body punch or a head punch. I would think it must have been a head punch. And also when Ward got dropped by Kovalev, that was also a head punch. Yeah, so he did get knocked down by a head punch. Gaddy was easy work. Oh no, I'm so offended. Oh my God. Richard's only hating on Gaddy because he looks like me. I don't understand how Zab Judah was able to still get a shot at Floyd even after the Baltimore loss. Because they already had a contract, right? Repost your Harriet Tubman video, Sean. Why? You think it's going to expose something? I just told you right now on this video, I said that she was too ugly to put on American currency, that you should put somebody else on. Not that I said you didn't have to put a black person on. I had no problem with that. I just didn't think you should put her on. Every single picture you ever saw of Harriet Tubman, it's a terrible picture. Maybe there's better pictures of her, but I've never seen one. Harriet Tubman didn't give up her seat on the bus. No, she didn't. There was no buses. Vlad lost the longest reigning heavyweight champion. He deserves to be on everyone's list. I changed the subject, guys. We don't have any respectable fighters until May. We just talked about the May 3-day fight card, which is great. All those white presidents are beautiful. We have black organizations that teach real black history, not by some white teacher. Oh, congratulations. That's nice, even though it's funded by white people. Right? Nice. They should put Livy Dunn on the $20 bill. I agree. I agree. They should totally put Livy Dunn on the fucking $20 bill. Man. But the problem is nobody would be spending it. And then all your 20s would be covered with fucking, oh, dirty, dirty. I was surprised to see Vitali only lost fights because of a cut and a shoulder injury. I believe both fights he was winning on the cards also. Oh no, he was a much better fighter than his brother. Dominant. Kovalev beat Ward the first fight. That was a robbery, but Ward got his revenge. He did by hitting him in the nuts. Vitali would have beat up Vlad. Did you see Punch Drunk playing security for Tio Sr.? He was about to fight an interviewer for saying Keyshawn beat up Tio Sr. You know, dudes like him, how do you believe anything somebody says when they're so fucking tied together with a boxer? It's like True School with fucking Angelo Leo. It's like fucking the whole LDBC with Devin Haney and fucking Errol Spence and fucking Deontay Wilder. These dudes can't fucking be honest because they're so fucking blinded by love. DeMarcus Cousins played in Taiwan too. He did. Nope, there's plenty of black schools, black owned, funded by black people. You are in China. No, I'm not in China. I'm in Taiwan. But okay. See, when you talk about this funded by funded, the majority of schools in America are funded by fucking the government, which primarily is money given by rich white people, old white people that are pushing agendas, primarily to create racial divide in America, right? But Richard's buying into it. He loves it. Clarissa Shields is a weirdo. She demands everyone give her props. Yes, she is great in her sport, but she wants everyone that is talking about her to say she is the GOAT and give her props. Well, maybe if she actually fights anybody and does anything significant, she'll get props. But if she keeps fighting at heavyweight against shit opposition, how much props does she want? Like, literally, she's fighting the worst opposition fucking available. Lose some weight, move down and fight some legitimate people. If I was biased, I'd admit, oh my God, stop. Clarissa isn't comfortable in her own skin. Serena had issues with that, being labeled as a man. Oh, you mean Serena, the tennis player? Tell us that these presidents are so handsome that they belong on the dollar bill. Is that what you're saying, Sean? Oh my God. Richard, you're fucking obsessed. Once again, who's the one pushing all the racial stuff? Who brought up fucking Tubman? You. You know, you literally fucking complain and moan about fucking racial conversation on the channel. Yet every time you fucking open your mouth, you're either making a fucking asinine statement about all the white people you support, just like all the black friends I have, and then literally making racial videos or racial statements. Maybe talk about what we're talking about in boxing, the topic of conversation, as opposed to always fucking going off on fucking side tangents just to try to stir shit, because that's what you do. And then you get fucking bent out of shape when you're called out on it. Don't be such a sensitive prick, right? If you're going to fucking try to stir shit, that's cool. Do it. Do it. But then don't be a sensitive prick about it. Fucking take it like a man. If you want to give it, take it. Don't be fucking a bitch about it. Is that what they teach you at those black funded schools? Sean, you should have patience with Richard. I know, but Richard is too fucking ignorant to realize that. I proved you have plenty of time, that I'm not biased for black fighters, and you ignore it. No, I'm just saying that you're the one that's consistently pushing fucking racial conversations here. People said that about Chris Colberg, Cyborg. She was a man. She had bigger girl KO chicks. All the real competition was the lighter weight classes. I had Katie winning the first fight, Serrano the second, both outstanding fights. Best women boxing fights I've ever fucking seen. Like, literally legitimate. You cannot not watch those fights and be impressed with the skill level and just the aggression from those two ladies. That's why people rank them above Clarissa Shields, because literally they have that opponent. Clarissa Shields, unfortunately, doesn't have that opponent. She got the one girl from England, but then she doesn't want to go to England to fight her because she's such an A-side. They should do the fight in fucking America. But America shows you they don't support Clarissa Shields, and they're not going to support her with this girl or fucking any girl so that it's going to be funded enough to pay for it. You'll make more money in the UK. Get your fucking ass to the UK, beat a legitimate opponent, and get a career high payday. Right? Like, that's what you should be doing. That's where the fight is. Otani. Take that, Diddy. Name one thing that I said that was ignorant or racist. I'll wait. Oh my God. Just this statement itself. Clarissa Shields has the most. No, she doesn't have the most accolades. She has the most fucking vacant titles that she won. See, once again, Richard, you prove your fucking ignorance. You think by being undisputed in divisions when you never beat a champion is somehow significant. She has more vacant world titles than anybody because those titles were not held by any champions. So she got them because they were available, like her becoming undisputed heavyweight. Who did she beat? A woman that was fucking 3-0, 39 years old, never beat anyone. And because the other titles were fucking held by nobody, she became undisputed by beating one fucking shit heavyweight fucking opponent. Congratulations. Yes, you're so fucking accomplished. Dude, you got to beat people. You're only as good as your resume. If you're going to go, oh, she's undisputed 3 times, and then we go to look who she fought, and it's vacant title, 39-year-old girl, 3-0. Who the fuck is that going to impress? Nobody. Unless you only want to support her because of obvious reasons. She does not have the opponents that fucking the smaller weight divisions have. That's just, unfortunately, the situation she finds herself in. Let's just be honest about it. The same reason people say they don't watch smaller fucking men's fighters, the same reason nobody watches bigger women's fighters, because there are no bigger women's fighters. Americans like Richard and Damon should visit anti-racist therapy. It must be very hard to live while seeing everything through race. Well, that's what the American media is pushing, right? American media wants racial divide in America. That's why when a white kid gets killed by a black kid, all of a sudden there's a big racial fucking narrative being pushed, right? Where all black America wants to support the black kid and say that he was the victim. He stabbed a kid in the heart and killed him, but he was the victim. If it was the white kid that stabbed him, the same people would be fucking on the streets talking about fucking white on black violence. But black on black violence that happens consistently all the time, the media never talks about it because they couldn't. There's too much of it. Too many blacks killing blacks in America. It's a fucking terrible situation. But Black Lives Matter didn't care about that because they don't care about black people. They cared about filling their pockets full of money. People like Richard supported them, called people who didn't support Black Lives Matter racist, and now we see what Black Lives Matter was. A bunch of lesbians who fucking robbed people of cash, bought fucking big houses and fancy cars, and gave nothing to the black community. That worked out well. But people love to fucking push the racial divide. But it's all media. Media is fucking creating that so that we're fighting amongst ourselves. Layla Ali never gave us the Ann Wolfe fight. That's true. Clarissa versus Savannah was a pretty good fight. I did see that. And that's what she should be doing, rematching Savannah. That's her best opponent. Gabriel Funduro, more exciting and fights better comp than Clarissa Shields. That's true. Undisputed key word for Clarissa. Blame the organizations, not Clarissa. How do we blame the organizations? She's literally fighting in divisions, Richard, that don't have any fighters. There's like 20 women fucking heavyweights. Not one of them has a winning fucking record. How much fucking praise can you get for fighting in that division when literally you could fight in other divisions, but you're choosing to fight in that division to win pointless fucking undisputed titles where you didn't beat anyone? Just so you can go, look, I'm 3-weight undisputed. No, you're not going to get the respect Bud Crawford's going to get for beating fucking Canelo Alvarez to accomplish that. How can you tell the difference between ignorant and low IQ? I don't know. Tell me. Wouldn't you like to see Clarissa fight Thurman just to reestablish the natural order to everyone? Oh, I don't want the fucking drama with fucking that. Vlad's resume isn't as good, yet he's an ATG, but Clarissa isn't. Vlad's resume is better than Clarissa Shields. Easily. You couldn't tell me fucking 5 fighters Clarissa Shields fucking fought. Those white kids. Oh my God. See, again, you with the racial comments. Oh shit, I forgot about the great match between Eubanks and Ben. They have Liam Smith and Arthur and Yard on the card. It's not bad. It's a solid card. But I heard it's even pay-per-view in America, which is stupid because Americans definitely don't give a fuck. Oh my God, Richard. See, again, you just saying stupid shit. You can go check out all the stats and compare fucking black on black crime to white on white crime. Literally, you can check out crime in Chicago, black on black crime, and that outnumbers white on white crime across the whole fucking America. Every fucking long weekend in Chicago, kids are getting killed, fucking people getting killed constantly. The big problem blacks need to worry about in America is fucking killing each other. Because that's the biggest fucking issue they have. But you can project it towards other people as much as you want. But that ain't helping the fucking issue in your community. Stop simping over lesbian boxers. Oh, he's just fucking typical. Richard. Oh my God. The actual movement. Yet you guys supported fucking Black Lives Matter. Sean, you should give me a wrench. Richard needs a smacking. Fabio versus Big Baby. Thoughts? Big Baby's tough, right? But I think Fabio Wardley is going to fucking bust his ass. Right? But it'll be a good fight. I'm excited. You know, Big Baby's talking a load of shit, man. He's like all over it, right? But, you know, he's a big fat punching bag. You know, it'll be an interesting fight. That guy's going to get hit a lot. I think it could be like Evander Holyfield versus George Foreman, if you remember that fight. I think Fabio Wardley's going to fucking bust him up. Big G, you need a wrench on your head. You're the one that just compared the resumes, dude. You're the one that brought up fucking Klitschko to fucking Clarissa Shields. You did that. What are you talking about, man? You're the one that brought up Clarissa Shields. Nobody was fucking talking about Clarissa Shields. Nobody cares. America does want division, easier to manipulate and control. Yeah, they do. The media, look at it. They love it. Oh my God, look at you. Those white kids jumped the black kid. The black kid that was in a tent he shouldn't have been in and could have easily fucking left. Didn't need to be there, but chose to be there. Chose to be somewhere he didn't need to be because he didn't go to that school. But okay. We'll just wait to see what happens when the trial goes to court and fucking guys like you fucking claim racism when the kid goes to jail for 20. Even though then all the facts will be out. There's videos showing fucking the whole situation. Literally. You don't think fucking kids all had their fucking phone cameras out? You know they did. Exciting boxing to watch all time regardless of skills. Hasim Nurmagomedov, Pryor, Tyson, Emmanuel Augustus. He definitely was not exciting. Prime Roy Jones, Ali, Pacquiao, Loma, Jorge Paez. Yeah. There's a lot of good fighters. You got to put Gatti on that list. Arturo Gatti was exciting, man. No one cares about female boxing. Nobody. Oh my God. You can say that, but the numbers fucking show that it ain't even close, Richard. Whites are the 60% of the population of America, and still far less white on white crimes than fucking the 14% Black American population. How do you explain that? 14% more deaths than the 60% white population, right? Just based on size alone, we should be winning. But once again, in the sport of killing, we're coming second best to the Black Americans. Jesus Christ, we just can't fucking beat the Black Americans when it comes to fucking physical fucking sports. Football, basketball, killing. I agree with you, Sean. All the focus on race is distracting us from the real problems. Exactly. And Richard just loves it. Oh my God, Richard, they're going to gang up on you. Forward feedback. The point is, why is Richard fucking consistently fucking bringing up race when we're here talking about boxing? No one's ganging up on him. The question is, why isn't he talking about boxing? Why is he obsessed with consistently jumping on and fucking bringing up racial topics and then acting as if we only talk about race? Even though you can go back in our life, and before Richard came here, none of this conversation was going on. Literally, we're talking about boxing, right? It takes one bad apple to fucking change the fucking conversation. I didn't shit on anyone's accomplishments. I pointed out the truth. Winning vacant titles is not a great fucking accomplishment. You didn't beat anyone to win a title. So how fucking proud can you be of yourself? Richard, you can keep saying what you want. The reality is fucking, you're not a judge, I'm not a judge, you're not a lawyer, I'm not a lawyer. We don't need to fucking debate this right now. We'll find out when it goes to court and what happens to this kid moving forward. Chances are he's going to jail for 20 fucking years, ruining his life, and he ruined the other kid's life because he stabbed him in the chest. If kids were punching you, stabbing someone in the chest is fucking still fucking murder. You went well above the norm. I don't know about Richard Sampson, but when I was a kid and I got in fights in school, we threw fists. I didn't fucking reach in my bag, pull out a knife, and stab any motherfucker in the chest just because he punched me in the face. But I guess this new soft fucking generation of Americans, that's what they do. Run to their car, pull out a gun, grab a knife. You can do that, but that's some bitch ass shit. All because you're afraid to get your ass beat in a fucking fist fight? Man, I didn't bring up race. No, Richard, that came well after you fucking started other stuff, but okay. Yes, and now you're defending a murderer, but okay. Innocent until proven guilty, that's true. But guys, I think Richard has really killed the boxing vibe on the channel, so I'm going to call it a day. No point fucking going on and on about fucking bullshit racial fucking narratives. We were talking about boxing. That was the much more interesting topic. If you're too ignorant to realize the media is selling you fucking racism and you're eating that shit up, I don't know what to tell you. There's bigger problems in America and none of them have to do with fucking race. Sean, have you looked at the video that got leaked by Caitlin Clark scoring 22 straight points, beating the college boys practice squad? Caitlin was pulling up from 35 and 40. I did see that. People going to hate it even more, right, Richard? This white girl fucking killing it. She's the one fucking carrying the WNBA, but people just can't accept it. What's going to happen when fucking my man, Cooper Flagg, comes to the NBA and starts killing it there too? Oh, man, it's going to be hard for people to fucking accept it, right? Hard to accept. I know. But thanks, everyone, for jumping in. We did have a good talk. Angel is better. If that fucking bitch could make a layup, that's all I'm saying. Jesus fucking Christ, man. No, honey, we don't need to time out. We've been on 2 hours and 30 minutes. It's more than enough time for a Monday. But we will see later. Don't need to read comments that are unrelated to boxing. But thanks, everyone. Peace out. Enjoy your week. And I'll be on later this week talking about this weekend's upcoming fights. Make sure you jump in. Give me your impressions on who you think is going to win. and we'll chop that up later this week, maybe Wednesday or Thursday. So I'll see you then. Peace out.